So my application is an AI-powered cost of living analysis. It's in the finance and economics field, and it looks at the cost of living in many major US cities through like data analysis, machine learning, and intelligent insights. So most likely we have to first look at urban affordability. So this application compares cities so you can understand which city is more cheaper to live in, what area would be easier to live in. Again, it could like track trends. It shows how much will it increase, what would be the cost of living in the next 5 years. And again, and it's also really easy to use, so user friendly. So cost of living really matters in current world because it can like help anybody try to like understand where they should live, financial planning, like how so like what would be their budget, how much should they save compared to living in this city compared to the other city. um it determines which one has a better quality of life based on your income value. It also looks like at job relocations and has a high economic value. So our analysis comes from like a lot of databases that we have covering over urban economic and demographic indicators across major US metropolitan areas, such as it looks at housing costs, looks at grocery and consumer good pricing, looks at transportation and commuting expenses, education and childcare loss costs, salary benchmarks and income levels, and population size and growth rates. So the type of technologies that I have used in this program is, of course, I have used Python, which is the most like the common language that I have. For the libraries, I used pandas and numpy for my data clearing, transformation, and like putting everything into numerical, like into tables. I used skitlearn, so it can like help my AI to like learn machine learning modeling, and it can like predict analytics. I used Matplotlib and Seaborn to like do data visualization and statistical graphs, which is like you'll see later in the application. Of course, one of the most important ones was Streamlit, which like made my application into like an actual website you could open up on Google or any browsing device that you can use. And for the chat box, I used OpenAI AI API because that's like one of the most universal and most common used AIs found in ChatGPT and all. So we have so one of them so we have 5 different tools that we have. First one is data management. So the libraries of Panda and NumPy can structure and manages large economic data sets with efficiency and precision without being able to jumble up, and allows the AI or the chat box to look at these data tables much more simple. Second is fast computation. NumPy and Panda enables rapid numerical operations for complex calculations at scale. If you're asking about what is the cost of living of the city in the next 5 years, the machine will be able to do this quick calculation much quickly than compared to for somebody on hand. Number 3 is predictive modeling. So skitlearn can predict cost differences and identify key economic drivers in the city to explain why is it costing so much than compared to other cities. Number 4 is visual storytelling. So all of the graphs and pie charts and geography mapping that I have on my application can like show in complex trends into easy access. It can show it like much more simply. And number 5 is user interaction. So Streamlit bridges data science and user experience with seamless interactivity. So users are able to look at the different graphs and like zoom in, zoom out, like check, especially on there's one map that has all of the major 10 cities on the US map. You could be able to look at one specific city and see their cost of living and all the other things. So for the machine learning model we used linear regression. So the linear regression model is trained on key economic cost features to quantify and predict overall cost of living differences across major US cities like New York, Boston, Houston, etc. It uses feature engineering, so it transforms like basic data points, data sets into actual predictive variables. It, of course, cost predicts any like overall living expenses for any city. and it identifies which expensive drives cost variation most. For the analytics dashboard, like I uploaded a photo of one of them that's going to be on the application. There's city comparisons, so you can check between different cities on different types. Like you can check between groceries, rent, transportations, all simply. You can also look at growth versus affordability. So it displays population growth alongside with cost trends to identify emerging opportunities and constraints. And it also helps pattern recognition. So it allows users to spot outliers, trends, and correlations that inform strategic decisions in their later life about where they want to live, where they don't want to live. And one of the final things is that of course, we have the AI chat box, which is your financial assistant. So you can ask it any questions about cost of living in plain English, and the chat box will answer your questions in about like 1 to 2 seconds about real city data to deliver clear contextual responses. So you can ask any questions. Like in this photo, I asked, "What is the cost of living in Boston as of 2025?" So the data that I plugged in is from 2023. So it will like figure out based on the data points that it has from 2023, and it will like not manipulate it, but calculate how much it will be in 2025. It'll use, of course, real data that I've supported and explains it in a much simple and easy way. So this project demonstrates practical applications of analytics. It helps users make informed financial decisions while showcasing expandable infrastructure for future economic research and analysis. And this is my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, great. Very well presented, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can stop the screen sharing. We can just have some interaction regarding your presentation. Okay.
Mhm.
So your presentation, firstly, I want to appreciate that you have made something very much impactful. As far I know, it is something unique project you have just worked on. And who were your teammate, if I may know?
I have Nicole. I don't know their last names, but Nicole and Harney.
Okay. So your project was good and very well explained, firstly. And also, I just like the way you mentioned about your vision that you want to add more cities into it and you have to create some impactful thing towards your US. And also, the way you presented your presentation, it completely defined as you are a good leadership. You had a good leadership skills, and you are you are already into some debates and everything. And yeah, it's very much impressive. And yeah, we can just jump towards the demonstration part now.
Okay, I'll screen share.
So while creating this project, did you feel something that was like some roadblock while you were creating this?
A roadblock, like while coding the project or creating it.
Yeah, yeah, like
I think
it can be ideation part, it can be coding part, it can be some other part that created some obstacle while you were building this project.
I know there was two major obstacles. So the first one was like able to find the data sets. So we had like multiple different data sets that didn't have like some of the cities weren't matching up, or they didn't have the correct relevant data that we needed. And the other one was that the AI that we were using, the AI agent chat OpenAI, it wasn't being compatible with our libraries and the Python code that I had downloaded. So I needed to like update everything or de-upgrade, like go back to a lesser version and recode everything just to make sure it works in that area. So
Okay,
that was
great, sounds good.
one of the things.
So what motivated you more to overcome all the roadblocks?
Wait, explain it again?
Yeah, what motivated you more regarding the motivating towards to overcome all the roadblocks?
I guess just like completing this project and having like a stable project that I can share with everyone later on, like all my friends, family, even like random like strangers out in the world.
Great answer, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can just jump toward the demonstration part.
Okay, so this is my project. So we have the title page. So this section that I have is the analytics dashboard. So it has like 9 different analytics. So like you can see
Okay.
over here, this would be the population over here of any different city color coded. So if I want to look at like say Boston, no, let's look at Austin by chance. I'll look at the
Okay.
right blue color, and you can see that the no, that's gonna be the
I think so. It's upward.
oh, I found it. In Austin, it would be 1.007, and it shows like the growth that it has over years, like what's compatible. And then that'll be the first one. Second one is just showing like the red comparison about living in the direct like downtown city then compared to like around the area like in the suburbs and all. So like in Austin, around it would be like 995.9 dollars for rent that month. Sorry, outside city. Well, in the city, it would be $1,581.66, which is like a huge jump. And then we have just the average monthly net salary of after cost for like anything, like just random data, and it will show that it has an upward trend, like upwards. Here, this is just like a chart about the top most 10 expensive cities. Like you can see, obviously, New York would be the most costly city, and Houston is the least expensive.
Okay.
Sorry.
Don't worry. Take your time. If you want some break, you can just take break. Don't. No worries.
This chart just shows like how much people actually like transport versus compared to like how much gasoline they buy. So the most would be New York. They would would be the cost, which would be 0.71, which is a lot compared to like any other less cities. Then compare like as to Austin, which 1 liter would be 0.56, and the monthly pass would be 37. Which like you can see the amount of inflation compared to New York to Austin and Chicago, Las Vegas. You can like hover over and see it. And that's the analytical. And in the chat agent, you can like put in a question. So I'll ask a question. What is the cost? It'll take some time to read. And it will give you all the calculations. So it said right now that their base year would be 2024. So for us, it would be 2029. I can change it if you want. And it would show that this upward trend from 2024 to 2029 based on inflation. So 2024 would be 1,709.16, while 2029 would be 1,981.39. This is like a huge jump. It shows like how it's able to create the forecast or like create the thing by like it shows the features that it used to calculate. So it used the cost of groceries, any like extracurriculars like fitness club, school, international primary school. So like if you want to do private school, and like a regular restaurant meal. After that, it will like show any sensitivity scenario. So it'll show you how much if the inflation actually decreases. So you can see that it like the cost went down. While if the inflation like increases, which I think is going to happen right now, like the rate is going to increase. You can see that the rate of living will be much higher. And then later on, it will just like show what you want to do next based on like what I can give it more like specific details on changing the thing based on whatever changing the prompt. So that's my application.